Can you turn off the microphone, Lilian? Hello, welcome to this webinar. Once again, we are meeting here in the Inspire Hackathons. We have two going on right now, and this is the Kampala Inspire Hackathon. My name is Bente Liliaby. I'm going to be your host today, and we are going to reveal the resources of the SmartAfriHub. So before we start, I will let people get on into the room. And while we are waiting, we are doing my signature weather reports. If you have been attending any of these webinars before, you know that we do the weather report. If you are new, welcome to learn about the weather around the world. So we can start with you, Jiri. Can you tell us where you are and what the weather is like where you are?
Hello, good morning. I'm located 100 kilometers northeast of Prague in Central Europe. We have nice sunny day here, not even windy. It was in the morning, but it has calmed down since then, and we have 15 degrees and sunny.
Lovely. And how about you, Petr? Where are you and what's the weather like?
Hello, I'm located in east, about 60 kilometers from Prague, in the city Kolín, and weather is similar like in Jiri's town. So it's about 15 degrees, and the prediction is about 20 degrees.
Oh, sounds very lovely.
Yes.
Yes.
Sunny day and high temperature.
High temperature, indeed. How about you, Lilian? Where are you and what's the weather like?
Hello, everyone. I'm in Nairobi, the capital city of Kenya. And the weather here is sunny, but a little bit cloudy with a temperature of around 22 degrees Celsius. Thank you.
Sounds very comfortable. So where I am in Norway, actually beyond the Arctic Circle. It's a town called Bodø. We have lots of snow and -5 degrees. It will be warmer during the day, but it's still like winter here. So with that, I would like to invite all of you. Hello, I see greetings from all over, from England, from the Philippines. Thank you from Finland. Please let us know what the weather is like and where you are so that we can have this nice collection of weather reports. Okay, and because what you are going to be used to is to ask your questions and comment in the chat box. That we, after the presenters have presented their information, you are more than welcome to ask questions and even comment. So today I will do some housekeeping first, and then we will start the show. We anticipate this webinar will be around 1 hour, and we have 3 presenters, and then we have a Q&A at the end. I will also try to answer or have the presenters answer some of the questions in between each of the presenter. We have the following program. We will introduce the SmartAfriHub, of course, and you will learn a little bit more of the different types of tools that we have. So Jiri will introduce some of the tools, and Lilian will talk about the tools she knows about. And then finally, you will learn more about how you can engage in the hackathon. And I will also, towards the end, I will let you know what it means to participate in the Inspire Hackathon. This hackathon is an all virtual hackathon, so you might have some questions related to that. Those will be answered towards the end. Okay, Petr, I forgot to mention you will be doing the introduction to the SmartAfriHub. Before we give the floor to the presenters will introduce themselves more than with the weather report. So we will start with you, Petr. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do? And then the rest of the presenter will do the same. Okay.
Okay. Hello, my name is Petr Uhlir. I am a senior web designer oriented on user experience and front-end architecture. Also, I like sort of search engine optimization and marketing, online marketing.
Excellent.
Maybe that's all about my introduction, and I can start with a little introduction with SmartAfriHub.
Yeah, just hold on a little bit, because we will learn about the other presenters as well before we give the floor to you. So Lilian, tell us about you.
Lilian Ndungu, and the food security, the agriculture and food security lead at the Regional Center for Mapping of Resources for Development. And this is a regional institution that provides other observation data services and capacity building in East and Southern Africa. I am very passionate about turning all this data into actionable information, tools, and products for decision making. Thank you.
Excellent. And I see that there are some of you that are not hearing us. I recommend Hanka. We have a moderator. We have somebody helping us with the questions and comments. Hanka, can you ask people to reboot your computers and then enter the room again, or the sign up for the webinar again, or use the link to get in here again. But reboot your computer, make sure that you have the right link to the audio. Jiri, let's hear about you.
Thank you, Bente. Well, my background is cartography, geoinformatics, and remote sensing, and I'm also dealing with our IT infrastructure. And I'm also involved in many projects as remote sensing, GIS, and IT support. So I am dealing with technical issues.
Very good, all of you. So just a few words about myself as well. I'm going to be your host. As I said, I have been working on organizing these Inspire hackathons for several years now. I am very involved in the work in GEO, the group on Earth observation. So everything dealing with Earth observation, the use of it, making it interoperable. So data management expert for sure, and also some experience in how it can be used in climate change and disaster, etc. So just a few words about me as well. Okay, so Peter, let's hear about the SmartAfriHub.
Okay.
Start the revealing.
So I will turn on my presentation.
The rest of us will turn off our cameras, and we will come back to you. Just a few comment on Jiri not showing his video is because of the bandwidth. So just so you know. Okay, go ahead, Peter.
So, what is the SmartAfriHub? SmartAfriHub is a project of 3 companies, Plan for All, Wireless Info, and COO. This SmartAfriHub is like a digital innovation hub, which is designed to create an innovative center for agriculture, and this platform is created to connect people between businessmen and some entities like universities and developers and researchers. So we started with this project with some principles. The first one is to connect these users, developers and researchers, with common users, and some another subjects like universities and companies. And the second principle is to integrate the applications we offer for the users and the developers. So it's the basic information about SmartAfriHub. This portal is based on the LiveArray portal. It's a big platform which is used by big companies like T-Mobile or Boeing and etc. And in this platform, we integrated some tools like SenseLog, Heislers, NG, and etc. Our general goals. The first one is to create a knowledge and information basement. We want to aggregate our information, relevant information into one place, which will be findable for another common users. The second one is become to community portal. So we want to involve users to share their knowledge and skills. The third one is to provide a playground to services and support services for creating and processing new ideas and experiments. And the last one is to prepare a place for presentation and promo of companies and some developers and researchers. I would like to mention that this SmartAfriHub portal is member of the big one project, EU project, SmartAfriHubs.eu. You can find the link below the picture. This project has about 170 partners in Europe, and this project aims to realize the digitalization of European agriculture by supporting an agricultural innovation ecosystem decided to excellent suitability and success. This SmartAfriHubs.eu has a big database of the hubs which are located into the map, and some another users from around the world can find these hubs and can find here some information, relevant information, which are they looking for. Basic functionality. When we were creating this hub, digital innovation hub, we used all functionality which the Library portal offers. Which offers this framework. So the basic one is the blog. Each registered users can add a new content. It can be some news, some blog mini-series, or some interesting information which can help another users or can inform with new technologies or process. Also, there can be presented some information about problem solving or do it yourself or at this. The second functionality I will mention is wiki and forum. When we want to create a community portal, we need to offer to users a platform for communicating. So here's a wiki and forum. Forum is divided into several categories. When you will see the web page, SmartAfriHub.com. In this section forum, you will see all the offered categorization. Another one is virtual sign shop. It's a kind of forum, but in this forum you can offer your skills like a researcher, or when you have some idea and you're looking for some researchers or developers, you can make a new tweet with some information about the ideas, and maybe you can try a new team, which will help to bring your ideas into the real application or real thing. Another is documents for download. In this section, you can find all presentations or relevant documents, like a PDF or pictures. For example, this presentation you will also find in this section. The last one is a map. It's a catalog of stakeholders, but it's still in progress. We will create it as soon as possible, but it's still in progress. Another part of SmartAfriHub is a tool section. About tools, it's a kind of applications or some functionality which is used in another applications for creating some experiments or some another projects. Jiri will talk about Open Mitskassenslog, Heislers, and Lehman. And the last section of this portal is applications. Lilian will also talk about applications. Maybe I can mention the practices, the best practices atlas. When you open this website, smartafrihub.com, and you will click on application and this section, the best practices atlas. There you can find some information and real example of this application. This application aggregates the best practices into the map, and you can find here a lot of relevant and common information. Maybe I will get the floor to Jiri for presentation some tools, and we can continue.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Petter. That was a very nice overview of the resources and what the SmartAfriHub is. Before we let Jiri go deeper into what tools, as you mentioned, are there, there's a couple of questions that thank you so much to the audience here for asking us questions. I see that before I will have a couple of questions for you now, and then afterwards we will have more questions. Yeah. But it seems that there are some people that are struggling with sound and with sound, basically. Just reboot. I think Hanka, you can mention that again, so those who aren't coming in late also know that they need to reboot and check the connection with their audio set up on their computer. Anyways, Samuel, thank you for the question. Can we download any kind of data for analysis? If yes, then what will be the resolution of the data? If not, then the visualization is on what projection?
Maybe this question is for Jiri, because it depends on tools we will provide for the users for trying creating some new applications or creating some ideas. So
excellent. Yeah, so
depends on used tools.
Okay, so be patient, Samuel. Either Jiri is answering your question directly, or we need to come back to you. Then you can just repeat the question. Hopefully we will get the answer. And I saw somebody else about the terms of, what are the terms of use of the database? Is there any restrictions for the reuse of data, or for instance, non-commercial versus commercial research?
This platform is open for all users. So it's no depends if it's a commercial user or it's a non-commercial user. So everyone is welcome to use our platform. That's my answer.
Yes, excellent. So it's all free. Okay, Jiri, let's start. We will come back to questions after, as I said, after the end of the presentations. We will have a Q&A session, so be patient if we didn't answer your question now. Okay, Jiri, are you ready to share and dive deeper into the tools on the SmartAfriHub?
Yes, Sherbenta, thank you for the floor. I'm just starting to share my screen right now. So I hope you can see it. So I will tell you some words about the internals of SmartAfriHub. You have heard from Peter some details about user interface and generally about the tools, and I will focus more in detail about what you can do, which data you can process, and which tools are offered for you. So the main focus is on Earth observation data because it's the easiest source of information today. You can have Sentinel data for free, and you have the whole world coverage, and you have a new image every 2 or 3 days. So it's ideal source of information. So we are focused on spatial data coming from satellites. I can continue with the technology. If you see here, we have built our system on a cloud solution because we thought that it's the time for building a cloud. We are running our own cloud. We are not using any commercial services like Amazon or Microsoft or others because they are incredibly expensive. It's much more economic if you buy your own hardware and you run it on your own. And so we are having several physical servers. On top of it, we are having CentOS Linux, and we are creating OpenStack-based cloud. And on top of the cloud, we are running all our services. And one of these services is SmartAfriHub, which is consisting of several tools. And one of the tools which you can use and can try to, let's say, develop your own applications on your own data is the Jupyter Hub, which I will focus on right now. Maybe you know, if you are working with data and with spatial data or statistic data, the Jupyter notebook, it's a tool for running analysis in your environment. We have upgraded it to Jupyter Hub, which is enabling running several Jupyter notebooks on one server for many users. So many users are sharing one server where Jupyter is running. It's based on Python or R kernel. You can use any of the technology you like. You can use any libraries which are available for Python or extensions to R. So you can use Keras TensorFlow frameworks for machine learning. You can use GDAL for spatial data processing, Pandas, GeoPandas for spatial data processing in Python, Rasterio, EOLearn, many libraries, all of you can think on. You are free to ask for access to Jupyter Hub, so please write to this email, jupyter-smartafrihub@lesprojekt.cz, and you will get an access and you can start working in SmartAfriHub. JupyterHub environment when you can use either Python or R environment. So if you are good in Python, you can use Python. If you are more familiar with R, you can use R. So here's just an example of simple plot if in our environment, and here's some example of Sentinel-2 data or Sentinel-2 image and DVI calculated, and there's also some histograms. So you can use any of these tools either under R or under Python. And also using Jupyter or JupyterHub, you can access the shell of the server using web interface. So running your web browser, you can still browse the folders in the server to copy data and just to have an access to data. If you, for example, need to create some new folder or a new file, so you can also do it from the web interface shell. And what we are also offering on SmartAfriHub is we have developed, or we are developing and running many our services. They are for metadata integration. This MITSCA metadata catalog, we can integrate and fetch sensor data from online sensors, which can be placed or deployed somewhere on the field, and which can send data online using mostly LoRa network. And on SmartAfriHub, you can also find many other free or open source tools like QGIS, GRASS. You can use Orfol Toolbox tools, and if to visualize or publish your results, you can use MapServer or GeoServer. So there is virtually unlimited options of what you can do and what you can publish, and how you can work with data on SmartAfriHub. And if you are having some other ideas, or you want to try this, so you are very welcome to participate in Inspire Hackathon in Kampala. So I think it's all from my side for the moment. I will stop sharing my screen, and I'm giving word back to Bente.
Thank you, Jiri. A lot of, for me, familiar tools and some unfamiliar. I guess that will be the case for several others as well. But these tools are then available on this SmartAfriHub. Then that's what you're saying exactly, Jiri.
Yes, they are.
Excellent. So a very good opportunity to learn and to use if you know these tools already. Okay, so I don't think we see any more questions right now. I will take them at the end. Don't be shy to ask questions during the webinar here. We will pick them up, even if we don't see it right now. Hanka will help us make note of all the questions that we got. So please do ask questions for clarifications. Even do you have any comments, some ideas? Feel free to use the chat box and share with us all. Okay. Last but not least, Lilian, you also have some resources to reveal, right?
Yes, thank you. Just a minute. So I'll be talking about a slightly different perspective. Since at RCMRD, the tools that we have developed are more geared towards users who maybe have limited knowledge of the technical side of data handling and data processing, so making data more easily available to users for different purposes. And as I said, my name is Lilian Ndungu, and I work at RCMRD, which is the Regional Center for Mapping of Resources for Development. It's based here in Nairobi, and RCMRD works through different collaborations, such as with the USAID and NASA, through a hub called the Severe East and Southern African Hub, but also through different collaborations with different partners, a few of which are listed here. And with the growing need for data in East and Southern Africa, especially in RCMRD's 20+ member states, we found that we are getting more and more requests. And so to respond to the demand for Earth observation data and products and applications, RCMRD has developed different platforms that will allow users to leverage on about the countries, making data more readily available for their reporting for SDGs. For example, in carbon accounting, development of greenhouse gas maps, land cover maps that help them estimate, but also creating a bridge between the science, research, and decision making by making data more open and giving users the freedom to access this data, to manipulate it, and to also redistribute, build on top of our existing data and applications and create new sets of information. And through this, increase accessibility and utilization of other observation data and tools. And this is because the greatest challenge is usually in some of the limitations, where even when data is freely available, there are still limitations for use. So RCMRD has created different platforms through its own initiatives and through different partnerships that are making other observation data, application, and products more readily available. And most of this data, which is, by the way, easily downloadable in different formats, in TIFFs, in GeoTIFFs, in graph format, in image format, is available in medium resolution, for example, between 30 meters for land cover maps to up to 5 kilometers for rainfall data and rainfall forecasts. And I'll start with the Open Data platform. And the Open Data platform was actually developed as one of RCMRD responses to countries' commitments to make data more available. So in support of its member states' needs for data and for open data, then this site was created. And it's actually a little bit more advanced. It has between basic and advanced functionality and capabilities, because for users with limited capacity to manipulate geospatial data, then they can just visualize the data in form of maps and charts and download the data, access story maps and web map applications. But again, for advanced users, those with some GIS technical know-how, then they can connect and use the shared web maps or connect to the spatial data using APIs as an input to their own systems. The Open Data platform performs all those functions, but it also allows RCMRD to respond to the emerging needs of its users, and not just the member states, but also, again, link to other portals and data sources. So this provides like the one-stop shop for open data within the region. For example, recently with the coronavirus, RCMRD has responded by creating a dashboard that is able to provide some the most recent information in all of its member states on the state of the coronavirus in its member states. And this is just one of the applications that has been a kind of rapid response to a challenge that is being faced right now. And if I could go back, the portal has different sets of data sets, including access to our apps portals. And the apps portal provides data by thematic areas and specific application portals that are geared towards the thematic areas. If you go, for example, in land cover, you'll access a land cover viewer. If you go to agriculture, you'll access a rangeland decision support tool. So like this is the one-stop clearinghouse for all these different data sets depending on use. So, but apart from the open data, we also have the GeoPortal, and the GeoPortal was actually developed as part of the tools, as a tool for disseminating the products and the services that are coming out of SAVIR. And SAVIR East and Southern Africa is a NASA-USAID collaboration that creates user needs defined products, services, and data. And so in order to make it easy for users to access all these different data sets and maps and information and data, then the RCMRD GeoPortal was developed, and with the goal of making sure that these data sets and tools and maps that are coming from SAVIR East and Southern Africa, but also from other sources, are also easily accessible to users, and also with functionality to not only just interact with the data set, but also to bring together different sources of information and create your own new set of information. For example, create a new map. And so the GeoPortal was actually created using it's based on GeoNode, the open source content management system for GIS, and it just does not contain data from SAVIR East and Southern Africa and from RCMRD, but it is intended to be used as a regional spatial data infrastructure that is linking data and information within the region from other country GIS portals. But again, it also enables development of online maps using GeoExplorer. And in our bid to make sure to increase the visibility of these portals, the RCMRD GeoPortal is already part of the SmartAfriHub set of tools, but it's also included in the GEOS portal. Within the GeoPortal, we have again the apps portal, so making sure that again users are able to go directly to the information they need by thematic area, and here you can get the different apps and data and tools by thematic area. And what this has resulted is that since January 2019 up to this point that we are in the year, we've had an increase in traffic and an increase in the use and access of these portals by different users. And this is because I think there has also been a growth in the number of data layers and maps and applications, specific decision-making applications that have been developed and added into the suite of tools. We have over 4,000 data layers and maps in different formats, some of which are downloadable, as I'm going to show you later on. And also making it very visible is important for people knowing where these resources are so that they can access and use them. And apart from those two portals, or 2 or 3 portals, we've also collaborated with our partners, and I'd like to highlight 2 more systems. And that one of them is the Global Agricultural Monitoring Tool. The Global Agricultural Monitoring Tool, and this is a collaboration with GeoGlam, and it allows sorry, just a minute. It allows users to access the most recent information on the vegetation conditions, but also evaluate this data within the administrative boundary to understand what the trend has been. For example, perform a seasonal assessment, an agricultural assessment of up to sub-district level for some countries, sub-county level for some countries, as we call it, and look at the progression or the change in NDVI or the greenness in the vegetation over time, but also understand the variation through using histograms of the different land cover classes. And this information is available at 250 meters, and it's downloadable. You can download the maps, you can download the graphs in image format in this case. And then we have the Early Warning Explorer, again, customized. This is a UCSB tool that was customized through a collaboration, the University of California, Santa Barbara, and our collaboration at RCMRD to customize it for our users in Africa. So this is an Africa-wide tool. And here you can get data on rainfall at 5 kilometers up to 15-day forecast and which have been tested for accuracy in the region, maximum temperature, NDVI, and evaluate this data, not just look at this data, but also go to an administrative unit and produce graphs, look at the data, the anomaly, the standardized deviations, and download this information for use in your research or in an assessment. But so all these tools are there. And while these tools are there, there is a lot that can be done to translate all this data from all these different portals into actionable information. And this is a chance for the audiences to contribute through the Kampala Inspire Hackathon for the African participants. And if you go to the Plan for All website, you can see the different challenges that and you can choose where you can contribute in turning this data into action. So you're all invited to join into the Kampala Inspire Hackathon and choose a challenge. I've just highlighted two that are relevant for agriculture. I should have also highlighted the Desert Locust Hackathon. But the information on all the challenges is available on the Plan for All website. And the first one that I wanted to highlight is the Earth Observation for Agriculture Challenge. If you're interested in using all these different sources of freely available data source that have been highlighted from RCMRD, from the SmartAfriHub, and turn this data into actionable information that will respond to the challenges that we're facing, for example, in our African agriculture, then this is an invitation for you to join in and look at the different challenges and see how we can turn these digital tools into information packages that can respond to the challenges that we're facing in addressing agriculture problems here in Africa. And so that is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
You're back, Bente.
Thank you, Petra. As you can tell, there's a lot of resources that are being made available for you. And we have some questions also, Lilian, but before, so you ended by talking about the different challenges in the Inspire Hackathon, in the Kampala Inspire Hackathon, which this webinar is a part of. But we know that people are asking, not all are familiar with the hackathon concept, the particular Inspire Hackathon concept, and the fact that we right now have an all virtual hackathon. So before we start the questions, I thought I would just remind people very quickly what that means. So because of the Corona situation, of course, we have not only the part of the Inspire Hackathon as a virtual hackathon, but the entire hackathon will be virtual. So we will end the results will be presented in a workshop where you, as a participant, report the result of your work. And the reason why I'm mentioning this result first is that this is what is the reward for you in this Inspire Hackathon. The reward is that you are developing knowledge yourself. You get to learn a lot that will be useful in your career if you're a student or generally interested in solving some of our major challenges. And by reporting, you form, and this will be your result, you form the basis for either a publication that you can use, that you can turn into a scientific publication, a report in your organization. It could be also the basis for a project application for resources to fund further work. So this is the reward that becoming a member of this hackathon, a participant in this hackathon. And of course, you get to know a whole lot of very interesting and skilled people around the world. So here in this webinar today, we are representing basically all the continents. So that's the reward. And we will have a special offer to the top 3 that will be evaluated by a jury. But the main result, the main motivation we feel is that you will become a part of a community working on open data and open source. So this is not this is actually one of a series of hackathons, just to give you a picture of what the Inspire Hackathon concept is. You can read more about this on Plan for All. I'm sure Hanka will share a link with some more information about the hackathons in general. And what does it mean for you now if you were inspired, but what you hear, and you are eager to use the SmartAfriHub and you want to be a part of the hackathon? Then there's I have prepared a how to participate in a virtual hackathon step by step. It's Hanka will also share this with you in the chat, through the chat here. But I think I will start with that, and then we will go to your questions, just so you are prepared to jump right into the hackathon afterwards, which we want you to do. Let me see if I can share my screen myself. And I am seldom sharing my screen. I'm just hosting normally. So here is it very quickly. It will take a couple of minutes. So it's ready, set, go, and finish. The first, you need to find your favorite challenge, which in this case probably will be the SmartAfriHub. You need to register for the challenge so that the mentors can reach you. You need to provide some information about yourself, your interests, skills, etc., to help the mentors. Attend webinars, you are doing that. And then you need some basic equipment, which you also have ready. Set, you need to bookmark the challenges workspace, so there will be a workspace where all the exchange of information will happen. There is set up a Skype group where you will be able to chat and also have meetings. The mentor is planning that for you. Remember to whitelist your email addresses. And also to help, you need to prepare your personal workspace so that you get the information very fast. Then it's go. You can contribute with ideas, attend the Skype meeting, use the chat for short message, attending the webinars, and milestone. There will be 2 reports, one to midterm that will where you will collect and summarize and take stock of what you've done, and then the final report, as I mentioned, which will be the basis for a presentation and also further work. And then you finish, you complete the reports. You will help the person who will present at the final workshop to conclude that, and then you will join this workshop to meet with all the others and see the results. And as I said, use the results to complete articles, publications, etc. So that's basically it. And this slides is made available for you on through the chat here. So that was a very quick, what does it mean to participate here? And now we are ready for the questions. Yes, so Hanka has prepared some for me. I see that, let me see here, Q&A. Yes, there is also a possibility to raise your hand to get into the room and ask your question. And I think we will try this experiment, and because it depends on what you already have of equipment. But I see Yahya was asking for the floor, and then Kasim. Let's try and see how that's go. I will allow you, Yahya. I accepted you as a speaker. I will take one by one into the room. And you need, in order to be able to come into the room together with us here, presenters, you will need the same equipment as we have, a webcam, a Chrome browser, and a headset, good internet connection. That's what you need, and a freshly rebooted computer. Yes, so while we are waiting for Yahya to come in here, I will go back to the questions, and I see, thank you, Genevieve, to also asking for the floor. Now let's see get to the Q&A here. Okay. Let me see. Yes, Genevieve is asking, for the database, who are the key stakeholders in country for gathering of data? How is the data gathered? Could not get that clearly during the talk. Okay, who will be answering that? Lilian, perhaps, or maybe Jiri or Petra. Are you there? Unmute and turn on your cameras again, please, speakers, with the camera. Thank you.
So, Lilian, you were first, so start.
Nope. No question, no answer to this question?
Lilian, maybe you have to turn on your mic.
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yes. So it's for the database. Who are the key stakeholders in the country for gathering the data? How is the data gathered? And yeah, that was the question.
Okay, so so RCMRD already works with the ministries of land as their focal person in the 21 countries, but also we work with different ministries by thematic area. For example, I mainly work with the ministries of agriculture in these countries, but we also work with other stakeholders. So this data is either collected through the government agencies or through our collaborations. Yeah.
So may I ask then, because of course you are part of AfriGeo and Geo, so I guess your country is also providing data to Geo, right?
Yes, it is. So again, with AfriGeo allowing participation beyond East and Southern Africa to the whole of Africa, and working with the focal persons and through the geostructure to consolidate some of these sets of information.
Okay, I hope we answered your question there, Genevieve. Jimboy, you are asking, can we use the app for free in schools food security projects in our city by mapping what vegetable do they cultivate in a given period of time?
Which
yep.
region is this?
Which region? I'm not sure. It does. Probably Jimboy did say that somewhere else where he came from, but I'm afraid I don't have that information easily accessible. Sorry, Jimboy, if you actually provided that information. But the apps in general, they are free, right?
Apps are free, if I think from my end, and I think also the SmartAfriHub resources are free for use and also for building on top of that to create new sets of information. So yeah.
Exactly. I believe this is what at the core of what we want to do in this challenge, right? To further develop the SmartAfriHub and use it.
So I would like to say that all information and all data are open for all. So it's for non-commercial or commercial usage. So everyone can use our applications and tools and data.
Excellent. So yes, so I don't see the first person entering. So there probably is some technical problem. I just repeat, you need a Chrome browser, you need a good internet connection, a webcam, and a headset in order to be able to join us in the room. So I will give a new try with Kasim. Kasim, you are ready. I will accept your entrance into the room. And we will see you when if you succeed. I hope you do. I hope somebody succeed. Okay. Adri Becker is asking, where is the individual smallholder farmer positioned in the SmartAfriHub? Maybe that's for you, Petter.
Well, maybe it's a question for Jiri.
Okay. Jiri. Unmute, perhaps, Jiri.
If you are a small farmer, you can get in touch with, for example, you can be interested in a catalog of best practices. You can get in touch with somebody who is dealing with the same issue as you and has already been solving it. So you can use a catalog of information which is being emerged there, and you can also ask for assistance for someone else. So you can use the tools developed, and it's the part of the front end, I would say. And also, if you are more technical developed or advanced, you can use our tools. You can try to play with the data, and you can do some own analysis.
Maybe I would like to add one more information. If you want to participate and you want to use some of our tools, just contact us by email, and we will support you. So the key person for creating a playground is Jiri. So don't be shy and try to contact him by email.
Excellent. And welcome, Kasim. Can you turn on your microphone and ask your question? Kasim, we can see you are in here, but we are not hearing you. No, while we are waiting for, there are some buttons, some icons on the top of your screen that you need to click on. Okay, so, well, Genevieve, she has several questions, so I will allow, there is room for one more in here, so I will give you the, I will allow you, invite you, sorry, into the room. I will invite you into the room while Kasim is finding out what he's doing. And then while we are waiting for you, Genevieve, we can move to Caesar. He has the same question as Adri Backer. How can local farmers can access?
Hello.
Okay.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yes, Kasim. How are you?
I'm
Hi.
good, thank you. How are you guys? Very quick question. Well, not probably combination of questions and comments. These relate to the second presenter and Lilian. I'm a data scientist and I'm a regular user of R and Python and some of these tools for big data analysis and data visualization. First quick question is the email address which the second presenter gave was JupyterHub at what? Can I just take that, please? Jiri Kvapil.
I think we will publish it somewhere, and you will find it.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's okay.
It will be published. Don't worry.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Now, the point I want to raise is, as I said, it relates to Lilian and the Jiri Kvapil. We already have lots of accessible data, like. If we start with the most recent, we've got the COVID-19. We've got lots of all these portals which show you, the pandemic, the way it spread across the world, each country, the number of deaths, and all these sort of things. Then we've got that I think Lilian mentioned it. We've got SDG data from the United Nations SDG data indicators repository, where you get, you send them an email and you get hundreds of thousands of data attributes coming. sent through to you. We've got our wedding data. You will have seen this, which is again another portal. We've got the Millennium Institute tool. We've got the World Bank Atlas, and all. Now add to that the tools which Lilian showed us. Now, most of these are descriptive. They do give descriptive statistics. Of course, you can see graphics, you can see patterns, you can see summaries and things like that. Now, I think the most important thing what we need to do, combining the tools that you suggested, Jiri, is to focus on applications. What do these data actually, what can we do with all this data? We've got an awful lot of data that we cannot actually make use of. So is it possible for the AfriHub to focus on streamlining this data into application-ready formats that people can use for predictive purposes? Because if you go to the United Nations repository for indicators, SDG indicators, or you get data for 180 countries, 150 countries, and and I've done work on these, and the most challenging thing is actually to get those data in a format that can actually be amenable to predictions or machine learning processing. So is it this sort of thing that AfriHub could be interested in? I don't know who is going to answer this question. Probably Lilian and Jiri or anybody.
Yeah, who is going first? Lilian.
I could go first. So there are two parts of the resources, and one of them is application-ready data. That is a response to the needs identified through what we call a consultative needs assessment, where we sit down with countries and the stakeholders and define their needs and their priorities, and then develop applications that are responding to those specific needs. If, for example, in Kenya, responding to the needs of the conservancies, we develop a specific rangeland decision support tool that provides output in a format that they can use, a PNG or a PDF, and that feeds to their monitoring needs at specific time intervals. So those are specific applications, and we have what we call the apps portal, and the apps portal will have these specific applications that are responding to a specific need. But then you find that there's such a wide need for data that you cannot necessarily limit all access to open data only to applications, because again, that is for specific users. And that is why we have the two sets. We have the data where you can pull your data, build on top of it, develop the statistics and use them in your research, or pull the data through APIs and use it as an input to your own specific development. So I think there are those two perspectives. And the data is not just available via request. These are online platforms that you can easily access, and we're going to share all those links. So those links are online and available for use.
Thank you.
Okay, Jiri, you have something to add to that?
Just a very quick general comment. We are offering tools and infrastructure, and we are very happy to invite and accommodate many applications. So it's up to you what you develop, and we are happy to support you from technical point of view.
Excellent. So thank you, Kasim. I will be throwing you out of the room.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. That's fine. Okay.
Thank you so much for attending. Absolutely wonderful. Thanks.
Yep. Thank you for having me.
So, Geneviève, how about you? Thank you for joining us. Welcome into the room. You had several questions, so go ahead and ask, please.
Yes, good morning, everybody. Thank you very much. This was very informative. Didn't know what I was actually joining when I registered, but this was rather helpful and answered some of the questions I was actually seeking, mostly the GLAM database. So a couple of questions were more around, I understand the stakeholders at the government and also obviously things like data from NASA, but I think it's very important to understand, one, how are we doing the integration of other data, mostly when it comes to agriculture, to be able and looking what is the thought toward using such technologies as distributed ledger technology, because in my point of view and from my experience, the stakeholders are not only the smallholder farmers, but you're also looking at the transportation, the distribution, and also the finance, the trade and finance bank. So how do we create trust in data is one of the things, and then merge that with the data, which is the geospatial data, because being able to understand the route and origin of goods is really going to be key. And fundamentally, my observation is that Africa is the breadbasket of the world. And we do not have that very, it's most people focus on the chocolate and the coffee, but in reality, fruits and vegetables are being grown in Zambia, in Zimbabwe, and then those are the ones who are making it to, at least in the UK, and also the Netherlands, as far as I know, making it to our shores. And being assured, mostly in a pandemic such as this, that we can continue to feed our people is really key, but then with a certain level of trust. So my question had been more around what is the thought process of integration of that data, and then getting also the governments really to understand the trade aspect of that.
Okay, thank you so much, Geneviève. I think what you are talking about is a lot about metadata connected to the data we are collecting. So how is the metadata, well, specifically the geospatial data handled in the SmartAfriHub? Maybe you can answer that, Jiri.
Well, I was showing in my presentation that there is a metadata catalog available, MITCA, which supports CSW standards and is fully INSPIRE compliant, and can also use full ISO profile, so you can put there any information you need.
How is this handled on your side, Lilian?
Yeah, there are two parts to that. There's the metadata that is available online, but what I can also mention that this is just one step of the process in the interactions with stakeholders, and our stakeholders are not just limited to government, but also even private stakeholders who can contract us. But when working with the government, one of our RCMRD's role is technical advisory. For example, right now I'm sitting in the food security emergency response team here in Kenya, where now we are taking all this data and bringing in all other data that is coming from the field, information from other thematic areas, such as barriers to accessibility of food from the places where we've identified the information the food is coming from the food basket areas. So I think these digital tools are just one step to one of the information sets that are being used for decision making. There's a lot of collaborations at the district level to get information back and combine that with the satellite-based data and create new sets of information. So I think there are so many different aspects towards how this data is integrated into decision making. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much for asking, Geneviève, and for your answers. I'm looking at the time. I'm just asking the presenters, how long can you stay on? Do you have some time? We are 10 minutes past 11 o'clock now. You can stay on a little bit longer?
Yes, we can.
Yes. Okay. So I see just a quick comment to Jim Boy, who said he wishes he had this kind of, or they had this kind of collaboration in the Philippines. Well, you can join this community. It's it's really a global community. So you can join and learn here, and maybe get the results back to the Philippines and see and gradually involve the Philippines in this kind of work. Let me see. I asked Akin into the room as well. So if you find you have the right technology, you are welcome to join us. How to register? Yeah, just to remind you that I posted a link to the description of the challenge itself. It's a blog post on Plan for All. In that description, you will find a link to where actually to register. So it's in the chat. I will also write it after I'm asking the next question. Let me see the next. I think so. Adele is asking, I think the SmartAfriHub is applied to all sectors. What is the criteria for registration? So Jiri, Petra, do you want to comment on this?
Everybody can make a register into the portal. So it just depends on you. Just go to the portal and make a registration and become a regular user. If you need more functionality, just ask us for this functionality, and we will allow you. So
yeah, thank you. Lilian, this is for you. Can you share the list of the 21 countries? Is Rwanda included? Cesar is asking.
Yes, I can share that, and Rwanda is definitely included, and most countries from South Sudan, Ethiopia, going down to South Africa are included. Yes, but I'll share that.
Excellent. So David is asking, how do individual researchers contribute data apart from hackathons? David, I'm not sure if you mean that to contribute. Is it possible to share data outside the hackathon? I think the answer is yes, Petra and Jiri. I think I saw some comment somewhere that this is a project, and what about after? So can you also speak to the sustainability of this effort?
Yes, you're right, Bente.
What? Yeah, please. Yeah.
You're right.
Great.
What you were talking about. So your answer was correct. All data are public. What we will create in this hackathon is public and free for all.
Yes, but I think the answer, the question was more. This is the data that we are talking about here is inside a hackathon, right? Because this is a hackathon webinar. Will the data be available? I guess, David, outside a hackathon is the SmartAfriHub is not, and this was my answer, is not limited to the hackathon. So the data. The resources will be available also after the hackathon. Let me put it that way. Yes.
It will be available.
Yep. Okay, and I've gotten a request here to invite Emmanuel to join the room. So Emmanuel, can you please raise your hand? You find a hand to speak, and then that's the way I can invite you into the room. And I will say thank you to Geneviève as well. So you are leaving the room. Let me see. Yeah, Emmanuel. Yes. Here you go. I invited Emmanuel. Meanwhile, let's move on the list here. See if there has any of the authorities that Lilian has mentioned refused permission to collect and share the data? That's an interesting question. Lilian.
Yeah. So RCMRD is intergovernmental, and I think we have developed very solid relationships with the government in East and Southern Africa. And so it hasn't been very hard to get the support of the government, of the ministries of agriculture, of extension officers, and other collaborators in collecting data. And most of the time, RCMRDs are go-between agencies that want to collect data or to interface with the government in data collection. So it hasn't been hard, I'd say. It's in some countries, it's definitely not easy. For example, I think depending on the political situation, for example, we've had challenges working in Burundi. Right now, we've had challenges with data collection because of the new government rules collecting data in Tanzania. So I think the situation varies from one country to the other, but in general, I think we've had a lot of success in working with the government in data collection. Thank you.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, so this is a good point. I think also, well, is there a difference between what type of data there is? For instance, some are more reluctant to share data that is near real-time or real-time data. It can also be a question of resolution of the data. Has this been an issue?
Yes. For example, in most Met agencies in Africa, you cannot get the actual data because their policies are that you buy the data. So if you're talking about that, then the move has been working through stakeholders to create gridded data that can then be shared for research. But so that is one example. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that. In general, the GEO, the Group on Earth Observation, which is, so the hackathon is supporting the work of them. The data sharing policy is there, open and free to the large extent. So we are working on data sharing policy there. Yes, and now I see Emmanuel is here. Welcome to the room. Please go ahead and ask your questions.
Yeah, thank you very much for this platform. This is very engaging, and I've learned a lot just listening. Yeah, and following up on some of what the participants have said on how, for example, the data is going to be used. For me, I believe that data is very important, but how we use data is even, more important and of concern. So, for example, if you're sharing data with government agencies, and we know that we share only analyzed data. So, for example, if you're talking of, if in Kenya, the context of Kenya, for example, and I even just did a piece now because, like, in a situation like this, where you need to provide food, or you need to know where food is, data is very important. And then you find the government saying that the county X, is a food basket, and yet in that county, because they're looking at averages, they're looking at totals, and they're looking at aggregates. So the individual misses out in this. So how are we coming up with initiatives and programs that ensures that, for example, because if you can say that a county has surplus because of the total number of production or total amount of production, which is, this is data that comes from people like us. We sit down, we do analysis, this is the data. So then we can easily, for example, confuse the government to assume that these counties, have surpluses, yet there are people in those counties who are actually struggling. So how do we now ensure that we curate that effect and we are able to onboard everyone so that we do not use data, to leave people behind, or use data and then it only gives like a general picture, and then the actual picture on the ground sometimes becomes different because then we are looking at averages, and in real life averages do not exist. This is the question I wanted to ask, so that I know if we are able to curate that, so that we are very responsible in how in the work that we are doing, because data can be very useful. It's like fire; it can be very useful, but sometimes also it can really mess up a lot of things if it's not curated properly. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. That was a really interesting problem that that probably could be one of the topics in this challenge. So Lilian, do you have any comments to this? I guess this is mostly for you.
So when you think about it, is that, you know, most of the data, there's the issue of abstraction, like, you know, as you aggregate the data, you're going to lose a lot of detail. So again, I think it depends on the perspective that we're taking. What level of decision making are we making? What level of decisions are we making? So there's again the trickle down effect where you can disaggregate the data as you move down to more detailed levels. For example, if you do an assessment at country level, there's a higher loss of detail. So I think there are very many avenues, and I think the right thing is to use the data in the right context. So if, for example, you're thinking about the spatial resolution, 50 kilometers might not be as good for decision making at district level. So I think while we have all this data out there, the issue of context and the context with which this data is applied to make decisions is very important, because then that means that if you're using the data, the right resolution, the right data source, the right level of detail for different decision making, then you're solving the problem that you're talking about.
I was muting myself. Excellent. So I'm leaning towards the time. I think we need to gradually end this discussion. Of course, if you sign up for the challenge, you will be able to continue to discuss all these issues and find solutions to it. To some of the questions, yeah, Emmanuel. So this is, I think that was the last asking for the floor. The mentors here, the questions that we overlooked, that didn't have time to answer, will be gathered and provided to you in a document from me. And so if you really want to, well, you can follow up through that information. And again, I encourage everybody to join this challenge. Tula, I know you're there. Is there anything else you want me to say before we end this webinar? Justus, perfect. You are welcome to join this to this challenge. He's saying that he's ready to participate. While I'm waiting for Tula, which is also one of the webinars, the mentors. Let me see. Ask again where to sign up. Yes, so I posted. I think I will post also in the as a sticky message, so you can all see it. I have posted a link to the where you can actually sign up. I just did it again. Go to this blog post. There will be a link to where you can sign up for this challenge, the SmartAfriHub. Yes. Okay. I think we will say goodbye. Can all turn on, all with cameras? Can you turn on the cameras? Yes, and you, Emmanuel, you will be, since you were patient waiting to get the floor, you will also be the one waving goodbye to everybody. So thank you so much for your participation, all your questions and comments. So happy to see many of you here, so many of you here. Be sure to sign up for this challenge and start working. So bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye, and thank you for your attention.
Bye-bye and take care.
Goodbye.
Bye.